Hey, Britney here. I'm like so tired because like I spent the whole night yesterday in the hospital. Because like yesterday was my mom's birthday, and even though she told everyone she was turning 28, we all knew she was really turning 31. But anyway, like being the generous person that I am, I decided to bake her some brownies. Because like until I become a supermodel and can afford a personal chef of my own, I want to at least know how to make brownies, you know? So like we were sitting down and we were about to eat the brownies, and like my dad and my brother weren't home because my brother had some stupid father-son thing with Boy Scouts or whatever. So then my mom took a bite out of one of the brownies, and then her lips puffed up and she started coughing and gagging, and she got these gross hives all over her body, and she was all sweaty, and I think she was going crazy too, because she kept going on and on about an EpiPen, and I'm like, Mom, what the frick is an EpiPen? So then eventually I gave her a regular pen, and she threw it on the floor. So I was like, Mom, are you okay? But she was just like, so then she fell on the floor, and by that time I was really scared. So I called the hospital, and I was like, I think my mom is like dead. So then they said they would send over an ambulance with the doctor and stuff to take us to the hospital. And then I called my dad and my brother so they could meet us at the hospital. A few minutes later, the ambulance got there with a doctor, and he was like so hot. So I was like, hey, and he was like, why is your mother dying? And I was like, I don't know, she was fine until she ate one of the brownies I made her. And he was like, well, is she allergic to anything? And I was like, yeah, walnuts. And he was like, were there any walnuts in the brownies? And I was like, yeah. And then I was like, wait a minute, if she's allergic to walnuts, does that mean she's not supposed to have any? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, oh. Then we went to the hospital. My dad and my brother were already there. And my dad yelled at me for like 5 hours. My stupid brother's there crying in the corner. And then a few minutes later, they said my mom could take visitors, but we could only go in one person at a time. So I went in first. And she looked so sick and vulnerable in that ugly patient gown. It was so sad. And to make things even worse, she had one of those ugly tubey things up her nose. So I figured I couldn't take the robe off her, but the least I could do was to take the tubey thing out. So I did. And then she started coughing and gagging, and this alarm went off, and this doctor came in, and he was all, Britney, why did you take your mom's oxygen tube out of her nose? And I was all, because it was ugly. And he was like, you could have killed her. And I was all, you expect me to know that? Like, I'm not a doctor. So then he kicked me out of the room, and my dad yelled at me for another 6 hours, and my stupid brothers, they're still crying in the corner. So then, here we are. I'm grounded for 2 months. My brother's still crying, and they said my mom can come home from the hospital tomorrow. And I'm so tired.